Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's Jason Pizzino on the Crypto Byte channel. Today I have a video for you looking at technical analysis of some of the top coins, all in US dollar value, because we are looking for some of the strongest cryptos in this bear market. I'm not sure if I'm the only one calling it the bear market, but I definitely see this as a bear market, possibly a short term, possibly a longer term, looking at the bigger cycles, as I talked about in the previous video. There you go, Bitcoin to $1 million by 2026. There was some technical analysis on TradingView. So if you're interested in looking at that sort of stuff, I highly suggest jumping over to TradingView, looking at what people are going on about, what they're talking about. Don't let it block your view of the cryptocurrency market. If people are looking at now as being a bear market, like as the market is slowing down and just getting a little bit more quiet, that's a good thing long term. I say it every video, you're probably sick of hearing it, that you need those times to rest and accumulate again. Going up in a straight line always comes down in a straight line, as we have seen time and time again. If not straight line, it's just dragged out. It's like death by 1,000 cuts, and it just keeps going and going and going until the weekends just say, fuck it, I'm dropping everything, and then you see that spike down, huge volume picks it up, and we take off again. So don't let that be you. Have an idea about what your view is of the market. Research. There's no easy fix. As much as you think the next YouTube channel is going to give you an easy fix, it will not. I'm all for education, and that is what I spend most of my days doing: researching, learning more about my own learning more about technical analysis, and then applying it into my own trading, and then applying my fundamental knowledge, because that's something that I'm building up as well. Not trying to get skewed by all the noise out there, and just trying to take the good pieces and then understanding what time frame I'm looking at. Am I getting this information and then just looking to apply it over 3 months, 6 months, years, a couple of days? Like, I have to understand that before I go into something. So without further ado, that is our channel there, Crypto Byte. You know to subscribe and hit the bell so you get notifications. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the good stuff. Let's jump over to cryptocurrency market capitalizations quickly, just so we got an update. 429 billion is the total market, and the BTC dominance continues to grow ever so slightly. Everything is down at the moment. It's Sunday afternoon here in Australia on the Gold Coast. Sunny, beautiful beaches on the Gold Coast as I look out my window, which I will turn my video on at some point in the near future. But yes, let's go on. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, you know the deal. We've got it all there. Everything is slowly dripping out in terms of the US dollar value. The Bitcoin values, if we switch over here, you've got the little USD, we just turn it over to BTC, and we can see what is increasing or decreasing against the Bitcoin value. Ethereum 3% up, 1% on Ripple. Nothing too outstanding except when we get further down to IOTA, 16% up at the moment, which I will get to in this video. And Tether's up 8%, which obviously means Bitcoin's down because the Tether is growing. US dollar value is increasing against the Bitcoin. All right, let's jump over to our first chart, which is the Bitcoin chart, the daily. So I'm still looking at this as a test of these levels, which were resistance, and we sort of failed again. We've got a failure on this pink resistance line here, which is connecting the highs. We've got a failure at the horizontal points there, which is around that 12,000 mark. I'll get a horizontal line here so you can see. Just throw that across there, just in the high 11,000s. Failed again. Now we're dropping below the exponential moving average of the 20-day there, the yellow squiggly line, and maybe we'll come back and test these levels around 8,500, 7,500. There's not really much to say that we need to go up from here, and I don't see it turning around into a big bull market from here anyway. But there needs to be some time to stuff around to figure out, who's winning the fight. It's a tug of war, and it's a few steps to the bull, a few steps to the bears, and we just keep going around until one of them just pulls the other over the line and we get a clearer decision. So now isn't really the time to be making decisions thinking that the next coin is going to moon in 3 days, a week, or whatever. This isn't that period. We had that up until the mid-December, even into January with some of the altcoins. So yeah, I'm not going to be making those sorts of decisions personally. This is more longer-term views, getting set for bigger positions, because when this takes off, like, if you've been around in this some time now, you see when it takes off, it goes bananas. Do your calculations. This is what I'm doing. I like to do calculations. Say you want to throw $1,000 in, $10,000 in, $50,000 in, whatever you got in your hands that you are willing to lose. You do some numbers. Say Bitcoin is at $10,000. If you were to put $10,000 into Bitcoin, you would only get one at the moment. So if you would get one, you are looking at Well, I guess what is the number that you're looking at to get out? Do you want to get to 50,000 from your 10,000? Do you want to get to 100,000? If that's the case, then you have to see that one Bitcoin is going to go to 100,000 from this 10,000 point where you're getting in here, which means it has to go 10x. It needs to go 10 times what it is there. If that is possible, then you'll get your 100. If it's not possible, if you don't believe that that's possible, if you think Bitcoin's only going to go to 50,000, don't expect 100,000 by putting your 10 grand into Bitcoin at $10,000. It's got to go into another coin that you think will get 10x. I see that a lot, a lot of, you're all through the groups of Telegram, through Facebook, through Twitter, where people are just expecting their coins to go to $1 million when they've only put $1,000 into something like Ethereum, Litecoin, or Bitcoin. And you're like, your coin is not going to grow 10,000 times, not 10,000%, 10,000 times. It's crazy to think that. So make sure you do your numbers before you throw your money in. All right, so that's Bitcoin. I'm just looking at that going down. We are looking for the strongest coin, cryptocurrency, in this current bear market. So this is an important one here. Important is the pink line connecting the highs. That's our trend line. That's our major resistance. We don't see Bitcoin having cleanly broken through that downtrend line. Let's go over to the weekly. It's obviously going to show a similar thing, but just in a cleaner sense. I'll get rid of my fibs there so we can get that chart looking cleaner, and then also all my exponential moving averages so we can clean that chart up. Again, pink line there is keeping us under it. It's just holding us in, but we're getting to smaller ranges, so we should be tightening up, and maybe we'll springboard somewhere out of there in the near future. In the next, I'm looking at March. I like the seasonal dates, meaning I like times around quarters of the year where people, they've got some extra money, they've done their BAS in Australia. You do your tax returns, you do all these sorts of stuff, and maybe you got some extra money. Seasonal times, we're all human, we all work at that. I'm getting into another topic again, so I will jump over to Ethereum. This is in the US dollar. Again, we are well and truly underneath our lower highs, and we are still closing beneath those. This is my chart that I look to buy in at. We hit my 50%. I've got my little yellow circle there. I think that was from a previous video, but 50% on my fib there is around $770. So anything around that point, I'm pretty happy to start or continue adding to my position, even though I've got a feeling that this could stretch back down to the 600s, possibly even retest these highs at the high 400s before it just levels itself out. But that's my first point. I'm much happier buying at 800 than I am at 1,000 or even higher, So Ethereum still hasn't broken that top. I'll leave Litecoin because no, stuff it. Let's go to Litecoin so you can see the difference. Litecoin, these are the highs that were drawn in. We broke through that. We were talking about Litecoin previous to this date. In early February, we were looking at Litecoin possibly having its big move to the upside, and it did. It broke through those highs. That is a leader of the market. That is what you would consider someone that, so one of the cryptos is one of the, if you're looking at stocks, one of the companies that is leading the market. They're the ones that I am looking for, and that's why I like the look of Litecoin. I had a feeling that this would happen because of its pattern, because of its volume, because potentially a little bit of the fundamentals, but more so I like the look of this technically. Litecoin has found its place back on its 50%, so it's had a rest. Maybe it'll come back down to these levels here at 160, but it's still above this trend line, the pink line connecting the previous highs of the bull run, of Litecoin's bull run on the 19th of December and also the 6th of January. That is a stronger position. I hope you can see that. It's a stronger position than Ethereum, which hasn't broken through this, or Bitcoin, which also hasn't broken through its highs. Let's move over to NEO. NEO has broken, not cleanly broken through it, but it's getting close. There's a little sort of double bottom here on the 61.8%, so that's the low to the high. That's our fib there, so that is a stronger level as well. I like the look of NEO. It's also sitting on old highs back here when we first bounced out of that low in early February, so old resistance becomes support. It's getting close to breaking out of this down pink trend line of mine here, so I'd like NEO second on that list. EOS, there was a subtle break of the downtrends, but I don't really consider this one too strong. I'm going with this high here as my trend line because it's the last high that EOS made before it fell off a cliff. Normally I would choose the high that is preceding the previous all-time high there, but that doesn't really give us much to work with, and as you can see, if I move the pink line back here, the downtrend line, it's already broken through that. So you could consider that EOS is calming down, it's not in a panic state where it has to keep falling off the cliff like it did into early February. So EOS is also on my list. I'm building a position, Litecoin, NEO, EOS. They're my mains. A little bit of Bitcoin because it's the king there, and I can buy other coins with Bitcoin. And if I get in cheap on Bitcoin, then obviously I can buy something else. But they're my main in another portfolio that I'm building a position on. Litecoin, NEO, EOS, because of those fundamentals there. You can see it's coming across to its next trend line. So this is this pink one here. I'll move that around so you can see. And wiggling that, putting it back on the high before it fell off the cliff. And if it can close above this high and hold that position, maybe it will continue to trend down, but the angle, the speed of its decline is getting less. Take that into consideration when you are making your trading decisions, your investment decisions. I don't want to be investing in this thing as it's fallen off a cliff, because you just don't know how far that cliff has got to go. Let's jump over to a couple more. So I've got IOTA. It seems to be a popular one. IOTA's also broken through its high, so that is also leading the market. It peaked around this is the main peak for me, even though this one went slightly higher in mid-December. That's because Bitcoin had its high and around the 17th, so obviously the dollar value increased on IOTA. This is IOTA here. It peaked before everyone else in early December, and it declined before everyone else. It didn't break. It broke around the same time that Litecoin broke, so I would also put IOTA on my list there. In terms of fundamentals, IOTA isn't one of my main picks, but that can be a topic for another video, because I just want to do technicals here. Potentially it would be something that comes back in. It's a DAG. Nothing else in the top 10 is a DAG. Let me check that. Hit me in the comments down below. I don't believe anything else in there is a DAG. No. DAG technology, Tangle, if you want to call it that. There's a few on the outside there. Zencash has on their list that might go to DAG. Go check that one out. Yes, I do hold Zencoin, so I'll make that a little disclaimer. But IOTA, that potentially is another one for the bag if you like IOTA. So I would consider these, having had their run of the downside movement, it's pretty, not over, but it's a lot more stable than some of the others in the top 10. Bitcoin, I don't think, has had its time run out yet. Like I said, Ethereum still moving its way down, but IOTA's not too bad. Look at that. Even it's sitting on its highs there of $1.50. You can see these highs here. It made $1.50 before it just went bananas into that $5.50 range. All right, let's look at a couple more in Bitfinex, because they have a lot of good pairs against the USD. We've done NEO. Let's look at OMG, and we'll make that our last one. OMG is going to have a lot of hype, I think. People love this coin. It came out really strong when it was released. Got a good community, all that sort of stuff that you hear everyone talk about. And as you can see, let's grab the line. Let's throw it up here, the trend line at the top. Connect the highs. It followed them very nicely on the way down. Did it hit its high? I haven't looked at let me say go in a long time. Did it hit its highs before everyone else? Yes. Oh no, it broke afterwards. So it was holding up its highs into the 8th of January. It did have a high here in around the same time that Bitcoin peaked, and then it kept going. So it held its Bitcoin value pretty well. Had a very sharp sell-off into around $7. As you can see, it broke through its highs around the same time. It broke through its downtrend the same time that Litecoin did. This isn't, before I go, this isn't a guarantee that these things are ready to go up again, but it's a stronger view than something that hasn't broken through its downtrend. So they're the few that I would put on the list: Litecoin, NEO, Omisego, EOS, and IOTA. It's definitely stuff to look more into. Omisego being one of the cheaper coins back here, so it's down at 21. Number 21, so it could have more room to run on the upside, so you would be looking at more gains, which brings me back to the initial point I made in the video about looking at what the potential of your cryptos that you're investing in, how far that they can increase, so that you can get an understanding of what percentage gains you are looking at. It's easier to get a double on Omisego than it would be on Bitcoin. Obviously it's not that straightforward, but in terms of the numbers, it's easier to push a lesser amount into Omisego to get it to double than you would into Bitcoin. Let's talk about that another time. These are the coins. Thank you very much for watching. Litecoin, NEO, bit of IOTA, EOS, they're the ones I'm liking the look of. Question for today: let me know what you're liking the look of and your technical analysis on it. So, and the whys. Are you seeing this pattern of cryptos breaking their downtrend and then starting to accumulate another position as it's broken its downtrend? Which coins are you liking the look of technically? Leave the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Remember, you can catch us on all of the social medias as per usual. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. Love it. Thank you so much. I'll see you at the next video, guys. But until then, take care and peace out.